It's right up my street, it's my boulevard. It's right up my Straza, oh my God. It's garden right up there, it's right up my podcast. Ooh.
Welcome to Right Up My Podcast Season 2. This is Gwen Watson.
And this is Kate White. And we are so happy to be back.
We are back. Oh, this is great, Kate. It's good to see your smiling face.
It's good to see you as well. And tell us all, what have we got coming up in Season 2?
Oh, my goodness. Well, we've been busy. We actually, true to our words, we've been doing some work in our holidays. We have been on it. Yes. We've interviewed people about Reiki, about walking therapy.
That was a goodie.
Yeah. What else have we interviewed people about?
Soma breathwork.
Oh, yes.
We're going to be talking about dreams. We're going to be talking about sound, therapeutic sound. We're going to be talking about sleep. We've got some really interesting things coming up.
Hopefully the law of attraction. I'm manifesting this, that we are going to get a good law of attraction person too. Yeah. Putting it on my vision board.
That would be so good.
But today's episode is laughter yoga.
Yes, we wanted to start the season in a really joyful tone because I think we could all do with that. So, yes, we are going to be talking about laughter today. But before we do talk about laughter, let's have a little chat.
Yeah, let's have a little catch up. What have you been doing, Kate, to make yourself feel good?
What have I been doing to make myself feel good? Well, I had a very funny experience the other night playing the Taskmaster game with some friends. Do you watch Taskmaster?
I love Taskmaster.
Oh my God.
Taskmaster. I can't say it, but I love it. They're hilarious.
It's so hilarious. And my friends got the board game. So over Zoom, we played the Taskmaster board game where they give you, where you have tasks to do, like Taskmaster style tasks. Oh my God, it was hilarious.
Oh my God.
We got so into it by the end of the evening. I'd backcombed my entire head of hair. For anyone who knows me, I've got kind of chest length, thick hair. The whole thing was backcombed. I looked like I'd been dragged out of a bush at some point. We had upturned all the sofas in our living room. We'd upturned the kitchen table. We had trashed our entire house. We got to the end of the evening. We're like, what have we done? We've gone too deep. We've gone too deep into this game. We need to reclaim some normality.
Were those things part of the same task where you had to upturn your sofa and backcomb your hair? I'm failing to visualise what this task could possibly be.
No, these were a number of different tasks. There was I can't remember exactly what the hair one was. Do the most interesting thing with your hair, I think. And then the turning them over was turn over the largest thing. And so both Chris and I looked at each other, we're like, I'm going big. I'm going big here. I'm not just turning over a pot. I'm fucking turning over the kitchen table, man.
Oh, my God.
Just trashed the place.
That is
It was
epic.
a lot of fun. It was good.
Do you know what really impresses me on that show is, God, I can't remember that comedian that was, that's really not narrowing it down. But you know, like, okay, maybe I should scrap that. But anyway, when you've got people who are like, you've got to get this thing from A to B, and they're given a variety of tubes and things to do it. And everybody, like a lot of people attempt the same thing. And then you've always got the one person who's so left of field and just so creative immediately and thinks totally out of the box and does everything really differently. And I just think, wow, I feel like I would go for the most obvious route from A to B possible, and I wouldn't be able to think beyond that. Whereas I get so impressed by people who you're like, I did not see that coming.
Not at all. I wouldn't even be able to do the most obvious route. I would completely freeze in pure terror if I was on that game. I would look at this box of tubes and whistles and God knows what else and just draw a total blank. I don't think I'd be able to even start, let alone think left field and win the whole thing.
It's so good. It's joyous. What have I been doing to make myself feel good? Well, Gogglebox Series 2 is on at the moment, and nothing brings me more joy, I think. There's something about... Do you watch it? Have you seen Gogglebox?
Confession, I've never watched a single episode of Gogglebox.
Girl, how are we even friends? What? How has this happened? How can you have never...
Am I missing out?
I'm sorry, what?
Have I just blown your mind?
Yes. Gogglebox, I think, is among the best things on television. And
Really?
yeah, and I know that people always go, oh, why would I want to watch people watching television? And it's like, the people themselves, there's something about just really like having the same reaction to the TV shows as these people. Like there's something about feeling a kinship with your fellow man across the land.
Yes, yeah, I get that.
And I think there's a lot that's happened over the last few years, i.e., et cetera, that you feel very disconnected from the rest of your country. You think, oh my God, I'm in the minority here. So I just love watching this show and really feeling a kinship with everybody on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? You putting it like that, I totally get it. I get that would be a really satisfying, warm glow kind of viewing experience.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why I've never watched it really. It's just not been on my radar for some reason.
It's so funny as well. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And what I really liked as well, because obviously everybody was watching Meghan and Harry, apart from you. Oh my God, Kate. Everybody was watching it.
Is this going to be is this the end of our friendship? You don't watch Gogglebox. You didn't watch Meghan and Harry. That's it. I'm cutting you out.
I missed it on the first night. I had so many friends text me going, did you watch it? I was like, oh my God, I missed it. I've got to watch it the next night. But what I loved about the Gogglebox is that initially they're all like, you know, echoing other voices in the country, like, why are they doing this? What's their motivation? And blah, blah, blah. And then just they're all empathetic and they're all sympathetic. And I was just like, oh, my people, this is, if everybody responded like this in the country, you know, I just feel like it would be a better place if we all just had just kindness, actually.
Just kindness. That's it. I mean, and that's the thing. I said to you earlier, didn't I? I didn't watch it, but I have an opinion about it. But my opinion is purely that if someone is struggling and someone has mental health problems, regardless of what you think about the wider circumstances of which I am completely ignorant, you've got to take it seriously. You've got to offer help to those people or individuals. You can't be flippant or blasé or somehow dismissive of that.
No, or like Piers Morgan coming out the following morning on Good Morning Britain, where he's got 1 million viewers or whatever, saying, I don't believe her and I think she's lying. And so many people saying, I don't believe her and I think she's lying. And it's like, I don't think you can do that if somebody is saying they didn't want to live anymore. You know, like you've got to be empathetic. You have to. The whole Caroline Flack thing, you know, the whole hashtag be kind thing. We've got to just be fucking kind, for the love of God.
Be kind. Yeah.
Yes,
definitely. I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
On that note, we have been talking a lot off air about the very tragic murder of Sarah Everard, which has happened while we've been recording this episode. It's brought to the forefront an issue that is very real for a lot of women in the UK, and that we also have been feeling deeply. We've chosen to not go into detail during this episode, however, because there's such a lot to process, and we're still processing the events.
But we did want to state for the record that we fully support the movement to bring this topic the attention it deserves and needs in order to stop male violence against women.
It's right up my podcast.
This week's episode is all about laughter yoga. Get ready. There's going to be a lot of laughing. A lot of LOLz. We literally LOLzed all the way through this one.
We did. There is something about Lotte, the lady we spoke to, that you just find yourself laughing all the time, even at things that aren't that funny. We also want to say that the sound quality of the interview wasn't as good as it always is. At points, it does sound like Gwen is shouting. She was.
I always am. And it also sounded a little bit like there was a Morris dancing troupe above Kate's bedroom, which there might have been.
I don't think there was, but however, the joys of recording in lockdown with a house full of people. It's brilliant. So let me tell you a bit about Lotte. Who we talked to. Originally from Denmark, Lotte is a laughter yoga expert. She is from United Mind, which is the UK's laughter yoga training and workshop specialists. Lotte herself is a laughter yoga expert, and she's actually trained in personal laughter for health and well-being. Who knew? Who knew that you could train in laughter?
Who knew? More of that, please. That should be rolled out in all the schools.
Exactly. I've made some bad life choices. Why have I not picked this path? And not only does she know all about laughter, but she has delivered the power of laughter in so many brilliant places. She's delivered sessions at Chris Evans' Car Fest to tens of thousands of people. She's done a session as part of the 2020 I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here winner Giovanni Fletcher's Barclaycard 31-day challenge. Whew,
that was a mouthful.
That was a mouthful.
That was a lot, wasn't it?
She's been on Channel 4. She's been on ITV News. So she is the go-to person to talk to about laughter. And we started our chat with her asking her what exactly is laughter yoga.
Laughter yoga is this amazing way of laughing even when you're not in the mood. You simply go ha 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 and a lot more. It's not bendy yoga exercises. It's a combination of laughter and playful laughter exercise and deep breathing techniques. So we get some really fantastic things going into our lungs and bad stuff out.
So no downward dogs?
No downward dogs, no tree poses or anything like that. But the thing is, if you think about our breathing, that's so key to it, because our breathing normally on a daily basis is maybe coming from the top third of our lungs. And to get full benefits of breathing, and laughter for that matter, we really need to get deep. Otherwise, our lungs are 2/3 full of old air, toxins, and carbon dioxide in too much excess, yeah? So when we are laughing into that space, we're getting rid of that as well. And that's what we do with laughter yoga, the combination.
Okay, so well, let's talk about the laughter element of it a bit more then. You sort of touched on what's actually happening when we laugh. Can you talk us through a bit more about what happens in our bodies and in our brains when we laugh, even if it's a forced laugh as opposed to a natural reaction to something?
Actually, I don't really call it forced laughter, because if we're forcing the laughter, we're using our vocal cords, and that can really damage us. So it's more like we don't do that. We really get the laughter into our belly using the diaphragm, because what happens when we do that and we go from the diaphragm, where the diaphragm supports the deep breathing, but it also connects with our parasympathetic central nervous system. And that's where you have the calming effect, because it, again, deeply connects in with the vagus nerve, which is about the relaxation and feeling that sense of peace, both body and mind. And when we're laughing in this way with ha 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 ha, suddenly our brain goes, aha, because we get that sense, well, actually, we start releasing endorphins and we start releasing other happy chemicals, like serotonin is being kicked off, which, of course, serotonin is 80% of serotonin is produced in our gut. So it really connects the whole body. And dopamine, which is about motivation and so on, 50% released in the gut. So all of our body is so intrinsically connected.
Right. God, I had no idea about that. So is that affected? Does that all link in then with our diet as well?
Well, the thing is, what we put in our mind affects our body, and what we put in our body affects our mind. So definitely we should feed our body some good stuff. You know, I like food, and I also like not so good food. But if we have a balance of everything, that's what it's about. Because laughter is not always just about laughing either. It's also about allowing ourselves to experience tears. When we're laughing and our diaphragm really goes, and you can feel it, you know, really moving the diaphragm, then it's the same movement in the diaphragm, or similar movement as when we're sobbing and going. So sometimes it really goes from one to the next, and it just shows that laughter and tears are like a continuum. It's not opposites, it just flows, because we have to have the balance. Sometimes laughter paves the way for tears to come out, and sometimes tears pave the way for more laughter. That's what on the other side of what's on the other side of tears, actually. More laughter.
Do you know what? I'm so glad you've said that, because I often find when I find something really funny and then I get a bit hysterical, you know that feeling where you just and then you find it so ridiculously funny, and then you literally become hysterical, and then I end up sobbing, and it's in that moment you're like, what am I doing right now? I don't understand. I no longer understand the emotions at this moment.
Yeah, you feel like you're losing your mind temporarily. Am I crying? Am I laughing?
Yeah. That is such a good example, because that is really what happens. Now, the other thing, of course, is if we're laughing so much so it becomes hysteric laughter, like you're really like gasping for air almost, then the body responds in a different way, because suddenly we don't produce endorphins and happy chemicals anymore. We actually start having a stress response, start releasing cortisol and stress chemicals.
Right.
Because our body gets exhausted from you could call it excess laughter, or just that hysteric we go into.
You've just triggered a strange memory from my childhood of being tickled by my mum, and you're laughing, and then actually you get a bit panicky, and you actually and it's that kind of, like you said, a laughter, but a kind of stress laughter. This makes it sound like a horrendous experience. It wasn't. It was a lovely childhood memory. But that kind of, that panicked laughter where like it's funny, but also I'm really stressed out by this.
Yeah, that seems really familiar.
And you know what? That's actually a really, really very, very good point, because tickling is a completely different thing. And as children, we experience the tickling and we laugh, and then that panicky mode kicks in as well, like you're talking about. But tickling is it's not a choice for us. You know, when we're being tickled as a child, it's actually really overpowering, because we don't have a choice. We're small and someone is coming in there tickling us and so it's it's again one of these things where we don't have a choice. With laughter and laughter yoga, it's so different.
God. That lovely childhood memory's just been completely ruined.
You were actually being abused, sorry. Kate. Sorry to tell you this. So laughter yoga, however, on the other hand, you are fully in control. What is a laughter yoga session?
Well, do you know, it's the whole thing about laughter yoga is that I run these workshops and I teach people to run workshops and to bring laughter into their own lives. And that is key, bring laughter into their own lives, because then you can go and share it with other people as well. But when I'm running the sessions and talking a little bit about the background and why we should do it, we do the laughter exercise, and I always say, you know what, when you wake up in the morning, you have a choice. First choice should be to stretch, because then we wake up our body, and it's good for circulation and mobility and flexibility. But also, you know, when you're stretching, wriggle your fingers and a little bit, oh, hello fingers, wriggle your toes and good morning toes. And then lots of people go to the bathroom first thing in the morning. So when you do that, you often pass a mirror. Look in the mirror and go,
Now, for the listener, Lotte was just smiling at herself and giving like yourself the sort of the reassuring thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah, because even though you may not feel like laughing, when you're doing the ha 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 ha, your lips turn upwards, and this move connects with the pleasure centers in the brain. So no matter how you feel, you may start feeling different. In a good way. Ah. Yeah.
They say that about smiling, don't they?
Yes. And that's really interesting, that actually just the physical act of smiling, like you said, lifting those muscles in your cheeks, can have a reaction on you that's almost out of your control.
Yeah. And do you know what? This is based on research from 1862, a French professor who was mapping out the facial muscles. And he found that when the lips move upwards, that's where the connection with the pleasure centers is created. And it's just amazing to think how much research has been done in this area, and old research as well.
God, it's so fascinating.
So let's go because I want to ask more about that, but I feel like I want to go back to first thing in the morning, the stretching. So, and to smile at yourself.
Of course, then we go in the bathroom, and then when we leave the bathroom, we will be laughing even more, you know, like because we made it so far, yeah? But the thing I do in the morning is actually at 7 o'clock, I dial into the telephone laughter club and laugh for 10 minutes. Ha 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 ha. And then hanging up at 7:10 and literally saying, have a good day, bye-bye. And then you're ready for the day. 10 minutes of laughter.
That is a lot of laughter, isn't it? That's a lot of sustained laughter.
Tell us about the laughter club.
One of the key things about this is that when we're laughing socially, we're maybe laughing a few seconds here and there. Some friends and so on we laugh longer with, but not when we're outside socializing, because we are very conscious of other people's opinions. So we may do the little and to kind of satisfy other people's need to be appreciated with laughter, yeah? And this laughter is stuck up here, and it's very brief. To get the full benefits of laughter, we really need to get it into our body and use the diaphragm and laugh for 10 to 15 minutes at a time.
Wow, that's a long time to laugh for.
Yeah, but we can do it because of the exercises we do. And also, you know, it's not only about laughing that long, it's about doing the breathing as well. And then you can do for a minute maybe, and then a minute of breathing and a minute of laughing. But even a minute of laughing is quite a long time for a lot of people if we're used to the few seconds here and there. So, but the benefits come when we do it for longer and deeper. Use it, and the diaphragm is the only muscle in the body that's connected with muscle. So when we're using it, we're pulling the muscles between the ribs, and we're also pulling the muscles in the abdomen. So we're getting a good workout in there.
And so this is literally done over the phone then. So you're guiding people through a structured 10-minute session. So with breathing and laughter in it. No.
We just laugh. So in the beginning, I started the Telephone Laughter Club in 2008, following being diagnosed with MS, and I wanted to lower stress in my life. When you laugh, you introduce all these, like endorphins. When you have a lot of endorphins, research from back in 1979 shows that endorphins counterbalance stress chemicals like cortisol. So the problem with stress is that it really inhibits our immunity. And when we lower the stress, of course, our immunity grows and we're more able to fight whatever we're facing physically or mentally or emotionally. So in 2008, I started it. And we did 10 minutes, and I used to do, okay, now we do this laughter exercise. Ha 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 ha, or ha ha ha. That was a milkshake kind of simulation. And then the telephone laughter grew, and suddenly there were so many people, so you couldn't hear a thing of what was going on. I didn't even know if people could hear when I said, have a good day, bye-bye. It was just so much laughter. And then after a couple of months, we just decided, let's just laugh. So when you dial into this 0800 number, which is a conference call, and you hear people laugh, you just join in. And then you just laugh and breathe, and you hang up 10 minutes later.
Wow. That's amazing. And how many people do you tend to get on a call?
Sounds amazing.
It's, there's one at 7:00, which I've run, and there's another lady who runs one at 8:00. And I think in the 7:00 it's about 15 people. It's not a lot, and, you know, I wish it would be covering the country. But again, you know, people don't necessarily get up at 7:00. There are lots of laughter clubs running on Zoom and Skype and all this information. There's a timetable on telephonelaughter.co.uk. And, you know, people can easily access it. Most of it is free. Some of it, there's a small fee, just like with a fitness class. It's for people to find ways that they can incorporate it into their lives. And, you know, like I was saying, pointing at yourself and laughing, even if you just say the sound, is the first step, and it's a really easy one people can do.
I was going to ask, you know, you were talking about, so when we look at ourselves in the mirror and we're putting on a smile, and let's face it, first thing in the morning, especially looking at our own faces first thing in the morning, we might not feel like smiling. But you were saying that the act of turning our lips up, or you know, of our smiles going up, that can make, because they do say, don't they, if you don't feel like it, smiling, just the act of smiling can make you feel happier. So is that the same with laughter? So if you don't feel necessarily like laughing, if you just start laughing, does it trigger something in you? Does it make you feel happier?
It does trigger the release of endorphins, and like I was saying, serotonin is our natural antidepressant. And, you know, it's some of the things that we're missing when we're not getting in the sun and so on. Then we're not producing enough serotonin. So by laughing, we're increasing the production, which is really fantastic, isn't it? It's probably not the only chemicals that are being released. I mentioned endorphins and serotonin, natural antidepressant, dopamine, motivation, even oxytocin. When we're laughing together, we're releasing oxytocin, which is our love chemical. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
And it's often related to breastfeeding or hugging and so on, but we release it as well when we're laughing. It's just fantastic. The body is such an amazing chemical factory, and we're simply not using it enough. Laughter can do so much for us.
When I need a lot, but I'm on my own, I try to tickle my own funny bone. Look in the mirror and I feel the worst, but I know it's just my giggle bag has burst. Oh, 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 that was so funny. Oh, oh.
Even if we're laughing without that trigger of something funny. So what you're saying is, even like you called it earlier, Kate, you said enforced laughter, even forcing it on us in the morning, that can turn into real laughter. Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm interested in. Does it become real, genuine laughter, or does the body release all those chemicals even if it's not a genuine laugh?
It's a yes to both. And of course, when we're laughing together, it becomes more quickly the real, genuine laughter. We cannot leave it to other people to rely on other people to make us laugh. That's why laughter yoga is so fantastic, because we can do the exercises and simply go ha 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 ha, oh ho 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 ho. And if you think about these three
that
different
is making
sounds,
me laugh, actually.
I'm just laughing.
But imagine if you're doing that in
That's
the mirror.
all I need.
Yeah.
And even if you feel like, I'm not going to do this in the mirror, then if you go and shower, so do it while you're washing your hair or body or so, just a ha 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 ha. And it will become, even if it doesn't become real straight away, the endorphin effect is real, really,
There
really
you go, right?
real.
Yeah.
And like I say, right now people are, and maybe not just now, but in general, we're kind of isolated in our homes and so on. And we're connecting via Zoom or Skype or telephone or other platforms that we're using. And that's great. But sometimes we're just by ourselves. And do we really, really leave our laughter to chance or to other people? And that's often what happens. That's why laughter is so fantastic, because it's easy to laugh when we're together, but choosing to laugh is what we do with laughter yoga. And we choose it because it's good for us. It's not just like our immunity and our mood. It's when we're laughing, and when you're having a really good belly laugh and you're gulping in all this air like so you get all that fresh air to your vital organs, but also to your brain. And when your brain gets fed fresh oxygen, you feel like you're motivated and alert and refreshed. And
No, it makes such sense. And you made a really interesting point as well about the fact that we have all these, our body has the ability to create all of these chemicals that can help make us feel good. And actually to take some responsibility for doing actions to kickstart those happy chemicals, rather than, as you say, relying on a third party or some external stimulus to do it. That's quite empowering, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a word I love, empowering.
Yeah.
Because it is really about choosing ways that can be easy, that can really do some good for us. And, lots of people have been upset or sad or complaining or whatever word you use for not being able to go in the gym and so on. But there are so many other choices for keeping healthy, because when you go to the gym and you exercising is one of the activities that also helps release endorphins. But when you don't do it, people get a little bit more depressed and so on. The other thing is, we connect, of course, in laughter. But even if we're by ourselves, if we look in the mirror, we're connecting with ourselves. And I know that's a challenge for a lot of people. But again, it's a way to get closer to ourselves and our laughter and the other sides of it, the balance I was talking about earlier.
That's really key, because one of the things we're often talking about in this podcast is ways to connect with yourself. And we've had like self-touch and walking around barefoot and focusing and etc. And And yes, and I think it is a really difficult thing. I think the word self-love is something that people really, really struggle with and don't see it as a possibility. And in one of our podcasts, I think our very first episode, she was talking about looking at yourself in the mirror and just being, smiling at yourself and being nice to yourself. And I feel like this is a really positive part of this, isn't it? That especially if you develop it and it becomes a daily practice of you looking at yourself and laughing and triggering something positive inside yourself, it could really help towards self-love, couldn't it?
I completely agree. It's there's an exercise I learned years and years, like it seems like a million years ago, yeah. And it was just where you look at yourself in the mirror, not just, first of all, you look at your face and so on, but then the next step is to look in your own eyes. And that's where people find it really, really difficult and challenging at times, because you're connecting in with your soul. And so at first you take maybe 10 seconds, look in your eyes, really connect. And then you increase the time you do it. So at some point, maybe you can do it for a minute. A minute's really, really long time, but it's so beneficial because you're connecting in with something that's you. And if you then add a smile, how good is that? Yeah. But it is about connecting with ourselves, and laughter really also connects with ourselves in a very, very profound way. Because if you think about it, when we're laughing, we don't have all sorts of other thoughts going on. You can't think and laugh at the same time.
Takes you out of yourself a bit like that, doesn't it? That's a really good point.
Yeah, and that's why it's such a great mindful practice. If you think about it, because it brings us into the moment. You cannot laugh in the past and you cannot laugh in the future, if you think about it.
Yeah,
so
true.
Although I can often laugh at things I've done in the past.
It's a different
or
thing.
about things that I know I'm going to do, which is even more fun.
I was wondering, is it something like there's going to be people who are listening who, we're in 2021, early 2021, we're all currently locked down. There's going to be people who are listening thinking, I do not have much to laugh about and I cannot see myself making myself laugh. I wondered, is it something, as with all of these things, that the more you practice, the easier it becomes? Or is there a way of opening a gateway to laughter in your mind? Because I was doing some research for the podcast at the end of last year, microdosing on magic mushrooms. And I remember one weekend I was crying, laughing. I was only doing a little bit and I was sobbing laughing because I'd made such a mess washing up and there was water everywhere. I mean, it was not funny, but I was bent over double, sobbing laughing. And then during the next week, I was watching something on television and immediately I was just sobbing laughing, bent over double, and I really felt like I'd opened something up inside me. And I wondered, is that a thing? Like if you do more, if you laugh more, does it become more easily? Does it come more naturally?
Absolutely. Because life isn't always easy for a lot of people, and it's not always that laughter is just there. But the thing about it is, the more you laugh, the more you find your sense of humor grows, and you find things more funny and lighthearted in your life. It's one of the key things is that when we're laughing, it's one of the key benefits. We become more resourceful and resilient. And when you're laughing and choosing to laugh, you start rewiring your brain. This is why we should do it every day, because you start rewiring your brain in a way you create new neural pathways. And one of the things I talk about as well is, neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to adapt and so on. It says it takes 65 days for a new connection to be really hardwired in your brain. So you laugh or you do an activity, let's say laughing, for 21 days first, and then your brain starts recognizing, wait a minute, something interesting is going on here. It's been going on for a few days now, hasn't it? 21 days. And then it takes 45 more days or 44 more days for it to actually be settled in. And then it's a habit. And then it's a new connection. Isn't that fascinating?
Right. That's brilliant, yeah. So the more you laugh, the more you end up wanting to laugh.
Exactly, and you end up actually feeling the health benefits on a daily basis. And you know how laughter makes you feel. You really know how it makes you feel afterwards. It's like, oh.
tonic, isn't it? It's just such a release.
I really love that. I love it when you've been spending time with people and you've spent the whole evening laughing. You just feel this elation in your chest afterwards. Are there physical benefits as well?
You know, when you're laughing, really good belly laugh, not just the, but the really good belly laugh, your blood vessels dilate. So you're sending your blood around your body faster. And with that, of course, because of all the air you've taken in, it's freshly oxygenated. So it really benefits all your vital organs. On the opposite scale is when you're stressed, your blood vessels constrict. And that's why it's going through your blood vessels with...
limping through,
and so it flows and it refreshes you so much. And I was saying before, when we're doing the you're really moving your facial muscles, and when you're laughing, you're bringing blood to the surface of your skin. Really, really healthy for you. So, and it is because of this whole effect it has on your circulation. So a lot of the effects on your physical well-being has to do with lowering stress. When we're stressed, our of course our immune system is inhibited, but also our digestive system. I remember when I was starting the Telephone Laughter Club back in 2008, when we'd been laughing every day for a month, and back then we also laughed on weekends. So I asked people for feedback if they felt different, and people came back with their mood was different and going to work was different and things like that, which I expected. And someone came back and said they'd been suffering from constipation for 2 years, totally cleared up. And first I was like, wow. That was a bit of a lot of information. On reflection, it's a really, really good testament to it, because when you're laughing and you're starting to move your muscles in the abdomen, you're really releasing something, you're freeing up something, you're lowering stress, and you're freeing up something. And constipation and IBS and other digestive conditions are many of them related to stress. Even things like some skin conditions are related down to your gut. And when you release the stress and make your gut work better, back to the serotonin and oxytocin as well, or dopamine as well, it's just benefiting so much. So that's just two of the systems in our body.
So whatever we can do to reduce stress is just going to help our physical health, our mental health, just the whole package is going to be helped by reducing stress.
I mean, you can, if you want to produce more lymphocytes, you can thump your chest.
Okay.
Because that stimulates the gland.
Tarzan was a notoriously calm person.
It just hurts a little bit after a while,
Yeah, bruised but relaxed at the end of it all.
I like to live in a predictable way. I have the same old sandwich every day. The same routine, the same ideas, the same tomatoes and the same cheddar cheese. Oh, I'm willing to try something new, something with tuna and mayonnaise too. I'll give it a try, yes, I'll give it a go. I might just like it, well, you just never know. But I always love a cup of tea.
As with every episode, Kate and I like to try it out ourselves. So we had a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 over Zoom with Lotte, in which she talked us through some laughter yoga moves. Not all of these work audibly because there were some visual cues, so here's a little montage.
I've never used so much hand sanitizer in my whole life,
Right?
So, of course, we need to do that as well. And this is one thing everyone should do whenever they're using moisturizer, shampoo, body wash, whatever they're using. This is how it goes. Yeah? Ready? Okay. And it really is, this is what's so important. The sound effect is so important, because this is about connecting in with the playfulness that we sometimes forget when we're growing up. We become serious adults with serious jobs and serious relationships. I know it's just a term, but
We still laugh our heads off at the sound of...
Yes.
Given half the
Nothing
chance.
like a mouth fart to make you laugh.
And we often finish with a very good, yay! Because it's a celebration and it's that playfulness we're connecting with. So do you want to do it a couple of times with me?
Yeah.
Very good.
Very good.
Yay!
Very good. Very good.
Yay!
Well, thank you so much to Lotte Mikkelsen. Have I said that right?
Hope so.
Sorry, Lotte. And if you want to find out more about Lotte and about all the wonderful work with laughter that she does, then go to unitedmind.co.uk. That's unitedmind.co.uk. And on there, you'll be able to find out about all the different services, the yoga, the laughter club, and all the other work that she does.
Absolutely amazing. I'm so happy that this is our first episode of season 2. What a great way to start.
Such a joyful way to start. I love it. And just seeing you laughing at me now, it just makes me want to properly giggle.
I know. So anyway, Lotte set us with a task. She sent us with a task of laughing at ourselves in a nice way, in a mirror. And also, we went and joined the laughter club that happens every morning at 7 a.m. So firstly, how did you go with laughing at yourself, Kate?
I really enjoyed this, actually. And I got into the habit that every time around the house that I walked past a mirror, I would turn and look at myself and have a little laugh at myself.
Oh, well done.
Just thinking about it now makes me feel like I want to laugh, which is a really strange thing. And actually, it came really easily to me that very quickly, I'd probably have to sort of do a sort of slightly fake laugh for the first laugh. And then very quickly it would switch into proper laughter and I would find myself properly laughing. My concern with this now is I've got so into the habit of walking past a mirror and laughing at myself that when I go out into the big, brave world and I'm in the shops or whatever, it's going to be a habit I can't break. I'm going to be this sort of crazy person laughing at myself in mirrors in pubs and shops and God knows what else.
This is how women get locked up.
Yeah, totally. But it always left me feeling really light and joyful. Even if first thing in the morning, feeling a bit grumpy, feeling just morning-y, it always lifted my spirits.
That is so nice. I'm so impressed that you took it and ran with it. You didn't only do the mornings, but you've spread it out throughout your day. And this really reminds me, and we spoke about this with Lotte, didn't we, about Klana in episode 1, way back in episode 1, where she was saying about the importance of smiling at ourselves when we see ourselves in the mirror. Because we often are just so negative about ourselves. The minute we see ourselves, we're commenting internally and judging our appearance. Yeah, the importance of actually just smiling at yourself and being like, yeah, you're great. And now this is taking it another level, isn't it? Well, I really found, because I did it a few mornings, I have not done it as much as you, but I did it a few mornings and I was finding exactly that. At first I was like, oh my God, I look so weird laughing. And oh my God, I can never laugh out in public again. and then like, but then there was really...
Is that what I look like?
Is that what I look like? How are people still my friends? And then it moved into responding, like you're actually looking at somebody laughing. And that does make you laugh, doesn't it?
Yes. That's such a good point, that it's like you're almost laughing with a second person because you see that reflection in the mirror laughing and it generates a laugh in you. It's contagious.
Yes. And I did find every single time that I would have my laugh, I'd do my thumbs up to myself and then thumbs up to me in the mirror or whichever way round. And then I would always walk out of the bathroom with a big smile on my face. And I just thought, yeah, what a lovely way to start the day.
Yes, such a lovely way to start the day. It was a fine line on some days as to whether I was laughing with myself or laughing at myself. It definitely flipped between the two, depending on the mood of the day. You're an idiot.
What are you doing to yourself right now? So did you find, because you were doing it regularly throughout the day, did you find that it did lift your mood and it had knock-on impacts to the rest of your day.
It definitely lifted my mood. It shifted and released any tension that I was feeling before I did it. And what I found is the more I did it, the easier it got and the less self-conscious I got. So the more a natural laugh emerged rather than a forced laugh. And that was easier the more I did it.
Good for you, Kate.
Let's talk about the Laughter Talk Club. It's not called the Laughter Talk Club. What's it called? The Telephone Laughter Club. This is something that Lotte mentioned.
Yes. So, and I thought, what a great idea to kind of mainline the laughter. Let's ramp it up a bit. Let's go and join the Laughter Club. So 7:00 this morning, Kate and I both dialed in. It's like a conference call, which I haven't done for a long time. And I did it on a landline as well. I felt so 1990s. Dialed in. And then basically the idea is, as she was saying, that it's 10 minutes of just laughter. And so we dialed in and then the laughter began. How did you find it?
Yes. It was a kind of strange experience, I have to admit. The whole, like you said, the kind of the dialing into the conference call all felt a bit strange. And I wondered if there would be an intro like, welcome this morning, hope everyone's doing all right, now we're going to start laughing. But literally it goes from deadly silence, suddenly the call connects, and then you just hear Lotte laughing in the background. And then gradually you can hear other people join the call and other layers of laughter piling on. And I found it unexpectedly emotional. So the laughing at myself in the mirror straight away, that was just joyful and lighthearted and fun and, easy. Whereas this, I felt it was a real release of emotion. And I'd started off, so just to give you a bit of backstory, I got into a real grump last night over something really trivial and stupid, and I couldn't let it go. So I went to sleep grumpy. I didn't sleep very well because it was so windy and the wind was keeping me awake. I woke up grumpy and a bit dehydrated.
Oh, mate.
So I went into this laughter club thing feeling a bit grumpy. And by the end of it, that had released and I definitely felt lighter and fresher. But the actual laughter itself, I found it a really quite intimate experience, actually. Laughing and listening to these strangers, these people I didn't know, laughing along at the same time. It felt really intimate. And I found myself wondering, who are these people? What are their backstories? Are they laughing out of sadness? Are they laughing out of joy? Are they here because they're struggling with something, or are they here because this keeps them feeling great every day? And I got a bit tearful twice, just out of nowhere. Like, suddenly I got this rush of emotion and felt a bit teary. Yeah, I found it really intimate. I did found myself kind of chuckling along. I didn't really belly laugh, but I think that's because it was such a new and strange experience.
Yeah, and it's your first time laughing along with complete strangers at 7:00 in the morning on your telephone.
I'm not going to lie, when it first started, it felt a little bit creepy. I just had flashbacks of horror films, when there's just that disembodied laughter in the back and everything feels a bit ominous. But then when I got over that feeling, it just felt a bit emotional. How about you? How did you find it?
That is really interesting that's where it took you. Yeah, no, I didn't feel emotional, but similar to you, that when it first started, I mean, I knew she'd said before that basically she'd cut out all the talking because people don't hear it. Yeah, but like you, I didn't know what to expect, but the laughing just began straight away. And it sounded like, at first, there was only a couple of women on, and one of them was obviously Lotte, and we know her laughter really well. And then there was somebody else who had, and no disrespect to anybody listening, but she had the most bonkers laugh. And it really sounded like she was doing a cartoon kind of, so I was really finding it hard to actually fully engage with it. And what was making me laugh is when I could hear you laughing, and then I was just bursting out laughing because I was imagining you stood in your kitchen, and I was just thinking, what are we doing? Us two stood here laughing at 7 a.m. with strangers on the telephone, and that was making me laugh. But then, like you said, gradually more people joined the call. And there were and everybody laughs really differently, don't they? And there was all these, then there was layers of laughs. And then suddenly, because also when I'd started, I was really tired. I'd had a late night. Similar to you, the storm was raging. I was cold. I was down in my living room, really aware of not wanting to wake the neighbours up. So I didn't want to do it in my bedroom. And Yeah, and I was wrapped in not one but two blankets, sat there on the phone. And then suddenly midway through, when all the laughing came in and everybody was joining in, and it just became really joyful, and I was really genuinely just really laughing. And I just found myself stood there in the middle of the living room. Blankets were gone. I was warmed up. I was bent over. I was like crying tears of laughter at one point. And I was just like,
that's amazing.
I know, because at the beginning I was like, how are we going to laugh for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
How am I going to keep this up?
Yeah.
Like my face, I was feeling a bit exhausted after 1 minute. It was feeling a bit forced. But I was really grateful that then really genuine, authentic laughter came out. And I was really laughing. And it was really great. And then, of course, like probably around the 8-9 minute mark, I started to get a little bit tired and I sat back down and people started to leave. And right at the end, she goes, she says something like, "Thank you for joining and have a great day." And everybody goes off the call. I was sat there, I was warmed up, I felt energised. I was like, I'm going to go and get the recycling bins back from the street in my pyjamas, and I'm going to do this, and these are the things I've got to do today. And I've like got quite a tight schedule for this morning, which I'd woke up feeling dread about. And I was like, no, I can do all this stuff. And I really did get a feeling of like, oh my God, imagine if we started every day like this. What a great start to the day.
Such a great start to the day. And if, like you said, coming off the end of the call being like, right, I can do this.
Yes.
I can cope with everything that today's going to throw at me. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's great.
And it really got me to thinking what Lotte was saying in our conversation with her. And I guess the laughter sessions isn't necessarily about making you feel really happy. It's just causing a way for you to release, to kind of relax and release any tensions that are in you through laughter.
Yes.
So if you come off the end of something like that, not feeling like you want to cartwheel down the street, but still feeling like maybe you've unknotted something or you've released something or you feel better able to cope with something, that's brilliant as well.
Yeah. So for you, feeling emotional and getting a bit teary in it, did you still feel good after it? Did you feel that it was a good thing to have done?
I felt really good, and any kind of grumpiness or tiredness that I'd felt beforehand had completely gone.
Wow.
And also, I'm one of those people that all my emotions come out as being a bit teary. I'm really happy, I'm excited, I'm sad, I'm frustrated. It all expresses itself in the same way, just a little bit teary.
Oh,
yeah. So me welling up a couple of times, it wasn't me feeling sad or me feeling like I was struggling. I think it was just a rush of emotion.
yeah. And it is
generated by all this laughter.
Yes. And I was having very similar thoughts to you about who are these women? And there was something really nice about actually these are real people in their homes.
Yes.
At this moment. We are all in our homes connected at this moment at 7 o'clock in the morning. And that was really nice, wasn't it?
Exactly. That was one of the most powerful things about it, I think. And so different from just listening to a recording, a pre-recording of someone laughing.
Yes.
It was exactly what you just said, that live shared experience with other people, and we'll never know who they are.
No, and that's really nice, actually, isn't it?
So, Gwen, would you do it again?
Do you know what? Yes, 100%. I would definitely do it again. I would like to do more of the laughing at myself in the mirror exercises, make that more of just a daily occurrence. So, so you've just got that. You can just top up your levels as you go around the day. But I did feel so energised, and my mood was so changed from doing the call-in this morning. I thought I would love to do this every day. And in fact, we've spoken to Lotte, and it is a snip at 30 quid to join for the year. And so, I would definitely love to do it more, because for a quick fix. And I just thought if you were doing that every day, it feels like it would build up, and it is something, so laughter will come more easily, like she was saying, and you're going to be having long-term health benefits on all of those benefits. Yes, for me, it's a definite yes. How about you, Kate?
I will definitely try and keep up the laughing in the mirror, because that was just a really nice little lift, like you said, whenever it happens. And I think with the Telephone Laughter Club, I want to kind of keep it as a tool for if I wake up and I'm like, oh, today's going to be a struggle. Like, I know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
Quick 10-minute dial-in.
Yes.
And I'll be fixed.
Yes.
I think I'm going to keep it in my kind of little toolbox of things to get me going. But, to live a life where you laugh more, what a brilliant thing to aspire to. That can only be a positive change in our lives.
100%, absolutely. Thank you for listening to Write Up My Podcast and for joining us again in Series 2.
Yes, it's so good to be back. And feel free to email us with any thoughts or episode ideas or feedback at writeupmypodcast@gmail.com.
You can also get us on our socials. Please come and follow us on Insta, especially now we've got this gorgeous new branding colours from our wonderful
Snazzy
designer Erica. So we are at Write Up My on Insta and at Write Up My on Twitter too.
For anyone who listens through Apple Podcasts, then please rate and leave a review. That's always really appreciated.
And share with your friends too, please. We want to go viral, don't we? We want to have listeners across the globe. In fact, we do have listeners across the globe. We just want more of them. So please do share with your friends.
Yes, please. And don't forget to visit our Patreon page, which is patreon.com. Is it .com or .co.uk?
I'm really glad you've asked me that. I don't know. Just Google it. Look up Patreon. Yeah, but please do follow us because we've been recording a winter warmer diligently every week, which, let me tell you, is absolute gold.
Massive thank you to our team. We could not do this without you.
That is Andy Turvey, our editor, Kat O'Bweel, our content editor. On the music, we've got the awesome Andrew Grimes. And of course, on our design, it's Erica Francis George.
And we'll be back in a couple of weeks with our next episode where we'll be talking about walking therapy. And we interview the person who put walking therapy on the map, Jonathan Harbin.
Looking forward to that one.
And until then, keep doing things
to make you feel good. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tell me, did you like the podcast, Brian?
No!
Oh.
If, unlike Brian, you thought our podcast was really great, then don't hold back. Like, subscribe, and tell your mate. But if, like Brian, you thought our podcast wasn't fun, then just keep quiet. Don't feel the need to tell anyone. We'd love to hear from you if you've got some thoughts to share. Such rich and lovely views that all should be aware of. But I hope you liked our podcast and you thought it was really great. And if you did, like, subscribe, and tell your mate. 'Cause we don't need grumpy pants bringing everybody down. No, we don't need negative Nellies making people frown. No. So I hope you liked our podcast and you thought it was really great. And if you did, like, subscribe, and tell your mate.